Hello English learners, welcome back to another video. This is Michael with Level Up English and I'm outside today. I'm really cold, my face is red and yeah, it's not nice today, but I'm outside and I'm doing a special interview today. I'm so cold I can hardly talk. I'm going to introduce someone new for you. So this is kind of going to be a simple introductory video, and if you want to see more or you want to see my guest back for another video, you have to let me know what questions you have for her in the future. But yeah, let's get to it and I hope you enjoy it. So today I'm interviewing a very special person and we're going to learn from her and a little bit about her story and her experience in the UK. So you might have guessed from the title already, but I'm going to introduce my soon-to-be wife, Molly.
Hello everyone!
So hopefully you can hear us because we're sharing this little microphone today. But I thought I could interview Molly today and then ask a few questions about her experience in the UK and working in schools as well. And
My traumatized experience in the UK.
yeah, and we're all wrapped up very warm because it got really cold all of a sudden. But yeah, maybe could you start, Molly, by telling us a little bit about where you're from and then why you came to the UK?
Well, I'm from China, and then the reason I came to UK is kind of like an accident. So it's like 4 or 5 years ago, I got selected to take part in a program which is to teach Chinese in the UK. And after 2 years working in English school, I decided to do the teacher training, which is called PGCE, and I got the teachers qualified status in the UK. And then I got a job in London. So I'm working in a secondary school in London, teaching Chinese, still teaching Chinese.
And you've been here like 5 years?
Yes, this is my 5th year.
Yeah. So the first time you came, when I first met you, basically, you had never been to the UK before, right? So you didn't really know
No.
about it much?
No, I haven't been to the UK before. So 5 years ago, my first time to the UK, and I stay here for 5 years.
So I think what would be interesting is to ask about your first impressions here. So what did you first think when you came here?
So my first stop in the UK was in a small English town in southwest England called Torquay. It's very, very British, near the seaside, very, very beautiful, and it's not like anywhere like London where you can see lots of different culture, people from all around the world, but in that town I can only see mainly British people. So I just feel like, wow, my first stop, and then you place me in a very English place, very English town. So it took me quite a long time to get used to it. Like if your first stop is in London, then you can see lots of people like me, right? Lots of Chinese students in London, but in that area, I was probably the only Chinese there.
There's a big change, yeah.
Yeah, big change.
But was it like better than you expected here, or worse than you expected? Like, what was your experience of like Torquay and coming to England for the first time?
Well, I love Torquay. Torquay is a very nice place when you get used to it, and then you really enjoy the peace there. You went there before, right?
We
went
lived there.
together. Yeah, we lived in Torquay for about a year. No, I lived in Torquay for 2 years, and we lived in Torquay together for about a year.
I mean, yeah, it's a popular tourist spot, and I think a lot of people do go there when they visit, and it's really nice. I recommend it to people.
It's also the hometown of Agatha Christie.
And we lived like one street away from her, didn't we? Like from where she
Yeah.
used to live, it was like right next to her house. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm still reading her criminal fiction though.
I'm not. So then the other big thing that we did over a year ago now was we came to London.
2 years ago, right?
Almost 2
Yeah,
years ago, we
wow.
came to London. So maybe from your point of view, what was it like coming here? What was your impression of London? How was it different? Kind of moving from the countryside to London?
There was a saying, I forgot who said it. Is it from drama writer? Who's that? If you're bored of London, then you're bored of life. So there were so many things taking place in London, you'll never get bored of it. But it's just like it's more noisy, it's more crowded. So we did take a while to get used to the busy life in London. But when you're used to it, you just love it because you just don't give a of what other people were thinking about you. You can do lots of weird things. You can dress in a weird way. No one really cares. No one really judge you.
Yeah, you dress in a weird way. But yeah, I agree. I think I have friends who don't really like London, and I never understand why. I think maybe they've been to the wrong places, but I think London is always really amazing, and there's always something to do here. And I think that's reflected in the videos I make, because like they're all about London these days, and it's just, I think it's a really beautiful place.
Yeah, I think everyone should spend like some time in their life to live in London. So
Yeah.
many exhibitions
Very expensive.
for free, lots of impressive gallery for free. So it's a good place to come to stay.
So could you tell us a little bit about why you came and like what you're doing for work here and your experience in schools here?
I didn't expect that I would become a teacher. Before I started this career, I thought I would be a journalist, but because of some the censorship, I didn't really like back to China. So I decided to change my career, and then I became an international teacher. And it seems like Chinese is quite popular. It's getting more and more popular in the UK. The demand of teachers is getting higher. So I just became a teacher here then.
What do you think about students in England compared to students in China then? What's the big difference there in how the students work and how they're treated by the teachers?
It depends on where you teach, to be honest, because I remember when I was teaching in Torquay, in a very countryside place, and that was a selective school, and the students are super well behaved and academic, bright, smart. But I think in London because the students' backgrounds are more diverse, and the gap between the poor and rich are so much bigger in London. So you can get lots of complicated situations because your students are very different. It's generally more challenging in the UK. The behavior is a bit worse than Southwest, but of course so much worse than when we're back to China. But as long as you build the authority, as long as you have the professional relationship with them, then it's not really a big deal. I quite enjoy being with them. They can be very silly, but sweet as well.
I think Molly was very surprised when she first got here because all the students were really crazy, and I was kind of like, yeah, that's normal. Like we're always like that in the UK. But I
How
think
do you define crazy?
like, talking in the class and things like that, not being respectful to teachers, and it's quite normal here, I think. And Molly was quite surprised because I think it's very different in China.
I think because in China, teachers just naturally have the authority, and students just naturally respect teachers and listen to them. But in UK, it's quite different. You
very
don't
different.
have the authority at the beginning, and they keep testing the new teacher. That's why I had a pretty tough year. But this year, they can't wing me. They'll never wing me.
So maybe one final question that I didn't prepare you for, but I would say your English is very good.
No?
So what kind of advice would you have for the learners and the people that are watching this video to work on their English? Like how have you improved your English and how do you continue to improve it? What advice do you have for learners?
I think it's just to step out of your own comfort zone and speak more. I remember when I was in school, the English we learn is very like paper-based, grammar-based, and it's not really about real life. And I realized that after I came to the UK and stayed here for quite a long time, I realized that quite a lot of stuff that we have learned from the textbook are just not authentic. But I do think my English improved a lot after working in a like totally English environment, like because all my colleagues are English, we have to speak English all the time.
You have no choice.
yeah, I had no choice, so I have to survive, and I think it just gradually improved bit by bit. So if you have any chances, just go to, just choose environment where you can speak English as much as possible, where you had no choice, you have to speak English to survive, or just pair up with your language partner, speak as much as possible. Yeah, just not always rely on textbook, because the people who wrote the textbook, they sometimes didn't know what is authentic or not. So yeah, I would say definitely go to the place where you can speak as much as English as you can, and then get access to just immerse yourself to authentic English.
Yeah, so immersion is always really important. And even if you're in your home country, I think it's still possible to get some kind of immersion, and just put yourself in an environment where you don't speak much of your native language. I think that's a good way of learning.
Yeah, I remember when I first came to the UK, I can understand the conversation like 1-to-1. So if someone talked to me, I can understand them really well. But sometimes when we had like staff meeting, like everyone got a chance to speak aloud, to speak up, I just feel like I sometimes didn't catch up. But now, whatever we're doing, I feel like I can always play a role, I can always take part in the conversation. So I guess that's the sign that my English has improved a lot, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it has. Okay, hopefully it's not too windy. We're walking along the riverfront now, near Greenwich by the O2 Arena, which you'll see in a previous video. But I had one more question for you, Molly. Now that it's been almost 2 years in London, what would you say is your favourite part of London? What do you like most about London?
I think it's the diversity and inclusion, because in London you can see people from different ethnic background, and we just don't judge each other. We appreciate, we respect whatever you do. That's my favorite part of London.
I agree. I think people call London like a melting pot, because there's so many different types of people here, all kinds of races and backgrounds and cultures. It's really fascinating, and that of course is reflected in the food and the kind of restaurants you'll find here as well, which is always cool. Very difficult to walk and film at the same time. Thank you very much, Molly, for joining me. I hope you weren't too scared in the video or too nervous. It was really cool actually, because we came here today on the cable car, which I'll turn around and show you in a second, but it was the first time for us, wasn't it?
The barrier protects against an area.
It was the biggest warehouse in the world. The Romans first settled on the Thames, and obviously the Vikings came after the Romans. And all throughout history, there's always been...
So thank you very much for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.
Bye bye.